It all began less than hardly a year ago, when I was going through the thousands of options on Netflix. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, the very reason my dad had actually subscribed to Netflix was because of the number of documentaries available on the platform. Now, this was one of those days where he just took the TV remote and told us to go sit and watch this documentary called What the Health by Kip Anderson. Now, it's not like I had much of a choice, and I can understand how boring documentaries can be, but this documentary was most certainly not the definition of boring. In fact, this was so interesting that I eventually watched another documentary from the same creator called Cowspiracy. Now, for all those who don't know, these two documentaries collectively explore the impacts of animal agriculture on the environment and the human health. Now, before I move on, I'd like to point out that I'm just another vegetarian in this world, and I honestly couldn't be bothered by people's choices, such as a person's choice to have a non-vegetarian diet. But after watching these two documentaries, my life has most definitely taken a turn. I've started to question my own and other people's choices. I've started to ask questions. Now, just a quick thought. Never. Now, believe me when I say never directly tell a non-vegetarian to stop eating meat, because you're going to instantly regret that decision. Now, if I were to include a video of me having a casual conversation with my friends about their choice to have a non-vegetarian diet, you wouldn't believe the number of times I'd actually have to beep the audio. In fact, I can recall multiple instances where they say, I can understand your decision to not eat meat, but what's your problem in life? I mean, why do you have to impose your choices on us? Just let us be, alright? I mean, I was just having a casual conversation with them, and my friends attacked me as if I'd committed a serious crime. Now, it was conversations such as these and the two documentaries I watched that eventually led me to think, if what these documentaries say are true, then why are people still eating meat? Do people not care about the world? I've seen so many people talk about sustainability, and nations at the UN take initiatives such as the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, but animal agriculture is not even on their list to achieve sustainable development, when it's one of the leading causes of climate change and almost every major environmental ill. Today, I'm going to try and explain why a non-vegetarian diet is not the most optimal for sustainability, and most importantly, explain the implications of a single choice: your choice to have a meat-based diet. There have been multiple reports about animal agriculture and how destructive their impacts can be. However, the most prominent and the biggest eye-opener for most people was this United Nations report dated back to 2006, which basically said raising cattle produces more greenhouse gases than driving cars. Now, what this sentence means is that the livestock industry produces more greenhouse gases than the entire transportation industry. I simply couldn't believe what I was reading. I mean, this couldn't be true, right? If this was true, why was animal agriculture not even mentioned in the talks for sustainable development? After researching more, I found out that not only does livestock play a significant role in global warming, where it also is the leading cause of resource consumption and environmental degradation affecting the world till date. The world's entire focus is on the energy and transportation sector. However, it's animal agriculture that's really one of the biggest drivers of climate change. No way that could happen. I tried to dig into more specifics and find data and statistics on this, and I simply couldn't believe what I found. The percentage of greenhouse gas emissions caused by animal agriculture is a widely disputed number. However, according to two World Bank specialists using the global standard for measuring greenhouse gases, livestock and their byproducts account for 32,000 million tons of carbon dioxide CO2 per year. Or quite simply put, 51% of worldwide greenhouse gas emissions. There's no way that could have actually been true, right? 51% of all worldwide greenhouse gas emissions, and not a single word about it from all environmental organizations. Researching much further, I realized that animal agriculture is the leading cause of deforestation, water consumption, pollution, is responsible for more greenhouse gas emissions than the transportation industry, is a primary driver of rainforest destruction, species extinction, habitat loss, topsoil erosion, ocean dead zones, and in fact every other environmental ill. I was so stunned and confused when I first read this. All of this was completely disturbing, and I was shocked to know people were still eating meat and other such products. How could people know all this and still have an animal diet? It felt as if as I spent more time on research, the more I was realizing how much I didn't know about what's actually happening in these industries. Now, just to make it clear, I'm not out here spreading hate. No. In fact, I'm not even out here to tell you all just to change your diets and just quit eating meat. I am here because each and every one of you made a choice. I'm simply here to help you understand the implications of a choice, because beyond a certain point, there's no one can force you to do anything, and there's no point in doing something or changing the way you're doing something unless you really want to, right? Now, one of the many reasons why non-vegetarians don't even want to hear the word veganism or vegetarianism is likely because the food tastes good. Now, being a vegetarian, I would definitely not be able to empathize with you, but if you go by the same logic, you will also have to accept that killing and eating dogs, cats, or even humans, obviously assuming that they are tasty, is morally justified, which most people who make this argument do not believe. If you justify killing livestock for food just because they're tasty, then in order to be consistent with your argument, you'd also have to accept that killing and eating dogs, cats, and humans would be morally justified, assuming that they're tasty, and most people who make this argument do not believe so. The second most heard argument is that we need to eat proteins and other such animal products if we are to remain healthy. Well, here's the thing, not really. All protein that you eat is initially made by plants. It's not necessary to eat animal tissue in order to get protein. Only plants have the ability to take nitrogen from the air and break those molecules apart and incorporate that nitrogen into amino acids and then make protein. Any protein you get from an animal is simply recycled plant protein. Now, I understand how difficult it may be for you to move away from something you love. To be fair, I'm a vegetarian myself, and some of you may consider me to be a hypocrite because I'm still using animal products. However, I'm still trying. I love certain animal products way too much. Cheese, chocolate, paneer, yogurt. Giving up all these foods I love, there's no way I could do that, right? I mean, it's my personal choice. But well, it may be someone else's personal choice to abuse a dog or beat a cat. I'm trying my best to make sure that I can do my part in making sure that the world I live in is much more sustainable and the world my future generations will live in is a better place. And I'm trying my best to make sure that I try and eat less and less animal products. For me, all this information was a complete eye-opener. I didn't even believe half the facts I read. Organizations like the UN were publishing reports about the destructive natures of animal agriculture, but not a single environmental organization around the world was even addressing animal agriculture as one of the leading problems. I mean, I'm quite new to these morally based arguments against non-vegetarianism and animal agriculture, and I also realize that I don't control the choices of others, but hopefully I've helped you reflect and question your choices. The least I ask all of you to do, all of you all to do, even if you don't agree with me, is dig in deeper. Dig in deeper into the implications of that single choice. That single choice that brought me here today, that brought me here to speak to you today. Your choice to have a meat-based diet. Thank you.